Close your eyes and imagine it. You know things no human alive has ever known. You know why people get sick. You know how to grow food without chasing animals across a continent. You know mathematics, engineering, medicine, 10,000 years of accumulated human genius, all sitting inside your skull. Now open your eyes, because you're going to need all of it. It's 8,000 BC. The air is cleaner than anything you've ever breathed. The rivers run clear. The forests stretch to the horizon without a road in sight. And standing 50 feet away, watching you with cautious, intelligent eyes, a small tribe of hunter-gatherers. They've never seen anyone like you. And here's what runs through your head. Farming, the wheel, germ theory, crop rotation, mathematics, writing, basic engineering. You know how civilization gets built. You've read about it, watched documentaries, sat through history lessons. You know the turning points, the inventions that changed everything. These people are 10,000 years behind you. You could change everything, couldn't you? Let's start with the big one, farming. You know that transitioning from hunting and gathering to settled agriculture is the single greatest leap in human history. More food, more stability, population growth, civilization. You try to explain it. Plant seeds in the ground, tend them, water them, stop following the herds. They're listening. They seem to understand the concept. So, which plants? You look at the landscape around you. You can identify maybe 4 or 5 plants with any confidence. You vaguely know wheat exists. You couldn't pick wild wheat out of a field of grass if your life depended on it, which, right now, it does. You don't know the soil conditions. You don't know the rainfall patterns. You don't know when to plant for this climate, in this region, in this specific valley. You know farming happened. You have absolutely no idea how to start it. Okay, the wheel. You crouch down and draw a circle in the dirt. You gesture, rolling, spinning, things moving easily. You can see a flicker of interest, but a wheel isn't a wheel without an axle. And an axle is useless without a vehicle. And a vehicle is pointless without roads flat enough to use it. And roads don't exist. And the terrain these people navigate every day, valleys, rivers, dense forest, is terrain a wheeled vehicle would be completely defeated by. The wheel isn't early. The wheel is about 2,000 years too early. The infrastructure has to exist first. The need has to exist first. You've got the answer to a question nobody's asking yet. You stand up. You kick dirt over it. You decide to teach mathematics, base 10, counting systems, the foundation of everything. You squat down next to a child and start with your fingers. 1, 2, 3. And then an older man watching you does something unexpected. He starts drawing in the dirt, moon cycles, seasonal patterns, migration routes mapped with spatial precision, a record of which plants flowered and when, spanning, you realize, years of careful observation. These people already count. They track the moon with an accuracy that won't be matched in formal astronomy for millennia. They carry in their heads a map of this landscape that a modern GPS couldn't improve on for practical survival. You assumed they were a blank slate. They weren't waiting for you to teach them how to think. They've been thinking the whole time. And then you see it. A child has a cut on their forearm, not deep, the kind of thing a bandage would handle in your world. And a woman, clearly experienced, clearly caring, is pressing a handful of soil into it to seal it. You feel your stomach drop because you know what's in that soil. Not the names, not the biology, but you know what happens next. You've seen the posters in doctors' waiting rooms. You know the word sepsis. You know that without intervention, this child has maybe a coin flip chance. So you do something. You gently stop her. You point to the river. You mime washing, hands, then the cut. You find something clean to bind it with. You boil water and you mime that too. Drink this, not that. You can't explain why. You don't have the vocabulary. You don't have a microscope. You can't point to a germ and say, this is what kills you, but you can show them. And you can keep showing them. And when the cut heals clean, when the child doesn't develop a fever, when the next one and the one after that also heal, something shifts. They don't need germ theory. They need the result of germ theory, and you can give them that. Wash your hands with clean water. Boil your drinking water. Keep sick people away from the food. 3 sentences.
3 sentences that will save more lives in the next 100 years than everything else you know combined.
Over weeks, Alex stops trying to build civilization. He starts paying attention. He notices they replant the same plots of land until nothing grows. He doesn't know the chemistry. He couldn't explain nitrogen depletion if you asked him. But he remembers that you're not supposed to plant the same thing in the same soil year after year. He draws it out. Rotate. Move it. Let this patch rest. He watches them smoke meat over a fire and recognizes dimly that this is preservation. He knows salt does the same thing, and there's a salt flat 2 miles east. He doesn't invent the concept. He just connects things they already almost knew. He can't write. There's nothing to write on, nothing to write with, and no one to read it anyway. But he understands, instinctively, because he grew up in a world that had already learned this lesson, that knowledge needs to be stored somewhere other than a single brain. So he encourages ritual. Tell the story the same way every time. Make the children repeat it. Attach the important things. Wash your hands, boil the water, let the field rest, to songs, to ceremony, to the kind of repetition that survives for generations. He's not inventing writing, but he's planting the seed of why writing gets invented. The understanding that knowledge must outlast the person who holds it. And here's the thing about small things. They compound. One child survives an infection who might not have. That child grows up, has children of their own. Those children carry the habit, wash your hands, not as science, but as tradition, as the way things are done. The tribe grows slightly larger than it would have, slightly more food, slightly less disease, slightly more accumulated knowledge passed intact to the next generation. A slightly larger tribe develops slightly more specialization, someone who only makes tools, someone who only tracks weather, and 10,000 years later, somewhere in the long, impossible chain of cause and effect, in a city that didn't exist, in a language that hadn't been invented, using technology that would have looked like witchcraft to anyone in that valley, someone washes their hands before performing surgery and doesn't think twice about it. Alex didn't build a computer. He didn't end famine or cure plague or drag humanity 2,000 years forward overnight, but he understood something that took our civilization an embarrassingly long time to figure out. The most powerful thing you can carry back in time isn't your knowledge of technology. It's your knowledge of cause and effect. The ability to ask not just what, but why. To observe, to test, to show someone else, to insist that the result matters more than the explanation. That's not a modern invention. That's the oldest technology there is. Reality tested, what really happens. If you want to know what else we'd get catastrophically wrong, or surprisingly right, subscribe to Reality Tested. New scenario every week.